wherever you are. I'm Terrence Shipman.
And I'm Khalil Shipman.
Welcome to Shipman and Shipman at the
Movies.
Our first movie we're going to talk about today is Creed 2.
Alright, so it came out a while back, but we really felt like this one really just had to be reviewed on this show.
Yes.
So it was directed by Stephen Caple Jr., and this is the second in the Creed series, making it, I think, the fifth in the Rocky series completely?
I think more than that.
Probably more than that.
Yeah.
Probably the seventh or
Probably
something.
the seventh,
But yeah, this is the second in the series starring Michael B. Jordan, and I feel like it was a really worthy follow-up to the Ryan Coogler directed first one.
It was. Mm-hmm. I enjoyed the movie. It was good watching Michael B. Jordan in his second movie. The story continues on where it left off. They took time, they wrote a good story. But I'm going to let him continue, then I'll tell you my final thoughts on it.
Yeah, so this one was directed by Stephen Caple Jr., who hasn't really done a lot of blockbuster movies in the past, actually none. So this is actually, what is this? This is his second movie, but I feel like it was really well directed. Like the whole cast just worked really well together. So it kind of follows the beats of a typical Rocky movie if you've seen them before, in terms of kind of just like, you got the training montage, you got maybe he gets beaten one time before, and then you've got the big climatic final fight. So yeah, it kind of follows the formula in that way.
And it does. So, me being the person who has seen pretty much all the Rocky movies, I agree with Sylvester Stallone. Please, let this be the last one. I know people might want to see Michael B. Jordan in another Creed 3. No, let's stop it. I enjoyed this one. Good movie. If you've seen Rocky 1, 2, and 3, you're seeing Creed 2. I think it's time to stop it. Let's stop it while you have a good thing going. Let it end.
I say stop it, but that's not necessarily to say that this was a bad movie or anything. I actually would. What would you rate this movie?
I'd probably give it about a 7.5.
Okay. I think I'd probably give it like an 8.5, just because of just the emotions it inspires. Like, I really think the best way to watch this, and I hate that we're saying it kind of so late, but the best way to watch this is really with a complete audience in a theater, because when you get to that final fight, even in the first fight, everybody is just completely riled up. Like, everybody's cheering for him. So it's just great. It's just a real spectacle of a movie, I would say.
Does it get the Shipman shake?
It gets the Shipman shake.
It gets the Shipman shake.
Alright, so next up is Aquaman, the incredibly large blockbuster put out by Warner Brothers as a part of the Worlds of DC, the new name for all the DC Expanded Universe superhero movies. It looks really good, I will say that.
It does.
It looks amazing.
I love the special effects.
Yeah, the special effects are really good. It was directed by James Wan, who's actually a horror director. Which is pretty cool that he got to do this movie.
It is.
DC is really just trying to, I think, expand who they're getting to direct their movies besides Zack Snyder. So it's really good in that aspect.
I love the movie. I've seen it 3 times. All 3 times I saw something new. It should get the Oscar for Best Special Effects, honestly, hands down. They really took their time and put everything into the special effects. It had a good enough story that you laughed, you had a good time. The superhero even gets beat up a couple of times. I enjoyed the movie. Great story. This is one of the best superhero movies that DC has done, besides Batman.
Okay, I actually kind of differ with Dad on this one. I didn't really like this movie just because I feel like it should have come out in 2008. Like, just everything they kind of stick with, like the common superhero tropes, like the love interest. Oh, how do they fall in love? Well, they look at each other and they hold hands one time, and then they're automatically gonna get married and have kids and all that fun stuff. So I really just think it was kind of like run of the mill in terms of the story. And then the special effects, I think they kind of shine the most when it's underwater scenes, or surprisingly, like the underwater scenes are actually pretty great. They kind of get away from what they did in Justice League, where it was just an air bubble, and they kind of have them being able to talk underwater. And yeah, but I think the special effects near the end are a little lackluster for me, just in terms of the fact that they just look like a video game cutscene when you get to like the final fight of the movie. And I kind of have not liked that throughout this year. We've kind of seen it in Black Panther and in a couple other Marvel movies. So just in terms of that.
Infinity War.
True, in Infinity War too.
Right.
Just where at the end you see the special effects, and if you looked at like Bruce Banner in the background, you were just like, oh, that looks very bad. Like, so I just think maybe it shouldn't take the special effects for this year, because I think special effects really work the best when you start to like question whether or not really when you start to question whether or not they're special effects, but just when you can't tell that it's a special effect.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I prefer. But
that's cool. All right.
So yeah, all right. Score?
I'd give it an 8.
Okay. I'd give it like a 5. Didn't really like it. It was a lot of fun to watch, but other than that, I feel like it lacked substance. Okay. But does it get the Shipman shake?
It gets the Shipman shake.
Shipman shake. Alright, so the first movie that I wanted to review was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. So this movie follows Miles Morales. He is a kid of African American and Puerto Rican descent who is going to a school, gets bitten by a radioactive spider, the classic story, and becomes Spider-Man. But what's different about this movie, the Spider-Man movie specifically, is that it has, I think, 7 Spider-Men in it total. So, or Spider-People total. And the story is basically that the Peter Parker of Miles' universe dies right when he promises to become his mentor. So 5 other Spider-Men are brought in to kind of avert this like world-ending catastrophe. But it's really good. So the animation style for this one is pretty unique. It's actually going to be trademarked by Sony, so they're going to like keep the rights to it. It's pretty cool. And I really just think this is a good like family movie, and just a really good movie for anybody who's been a fan of like any Spider-Man movie in the past. I just feel like it really encapsulates like the spirit of all of those movies really well, and it's actually really funny. I know there are a lot of like kids movies that you don't want to take, or animated movies that you don't want to go to if you're like older than 13, but this one is actually really great. I feel like everybody should see it in your family. Cool. All right. The next movie I'm going to review is Vice. So this is following kind of in director Adam McKay's library of getting big historical events and then kind of making them really like fun and entertaining to see. So the main character is Christian Bale, or the main actor is Christian Bale, and the movie kind of follows, what's his name? Dang, how did I forget his name? That's bad. Okay. The movie follows Dick Cheney on his like route to uprooting democracy, and it kind of shows how in the early 2000s he was able to just kind of come in and sweep the presidency from under George W. Bush's nose. So yeah, it's pretty good. It's entertaining. I think narratively there are a couple times when it kind of might confuse the audience, sometimes where they break the fourth wall and things like that, but it's all in the name of kind of keeping you in the story and keeping you involved with all these like important events, making sure you don't get lost. It's very entertaining. The acting, I would say, is kind of the biggest part of that. So Amy Adams actually plays Dick Cheney's wife. I forget her name. I think it was like Barbara Cheney or something like that. But yeah, it was really well acted, pretty well directed. I just think it's something to sit down and watch if you want to be mad at the government for a day, which I think a lot of people want to right now because of the shutdown. All right, y'all, I'm back for a short list of Netflix recommendations. So the first thing I would recommend is a Indonesian action film called The Night Comes for Us. It is a absolute visceral thrill ride for about 2 hours. It's amazing. Basically, this guy is one of the 6 like leaders of this like kind of mafia thing down there, right? And so he's trying to get out. So the other 5 leaders are hunting him down, and he only has the help of a couple friends. And he's trying to like get this girl away from them and all this. It's really fun. It's really, really actiony, hardcore, rated R. So just know that that's the audience. All right. And then the next thing I want to recommend is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This is a movie directed by the Coen brothers, who did some really good, like, great work on the Brothers Grimm and everything like that. Yeah. That's my Netflix recommendations. Go watch them. 2 really good movies.
I'm an avid moviegoer, so I'm going to present you with Terrence Shipman's best movies of the year. Khalil, may I have an envelope, please? Start off this list, The Incredibles 2. I thought it was a great movie. Good to see these guys again on screen. To me, it was one of the best movies of the year overall. The Green Book. Excellent acting performance by both lead actors. This will get nominated for an Oscar. One of the best movies of the year. The Mule with Clint Eastwood. Excellent. Clint Eastwood did it again. That's why he is a legend. A Star is Born. Absolute marvelous movie. I recommend you go see it before it leaves the theater. It's nothing like that theater experience to see this movie. Black Panther. The #1 grossing movie of the year and the domestic in the United States. One of the best movies of the year. Black Panther. If Beale Street Could Talk. Just saw it last night. Artsy movie. Loved it. The jazz feel of it. Great movie, great performance by the young lady who made her debut. Loved it. Vice. A cast ensemble. Everyone A-list actors. Excellent story. They came together. Great movie that will go down in history. And Spider-Man, Spider-Verse. Loved it. Again, who's going to win, Spider-Man or The Incredibles? I don't know. It's going to be tough this year for the Oscars. But I highly recommend you go see it. Great. If you love superhero movies, you have to see this one. And if I had to choose the #1 movie of the year, best movie of the year, it would be, drum roll please. Thank you. That movie would be A Star is Born. To me, this is a classic movie. When I look at what best movies of the year should be, this is it. This is one that you would look at today, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, and you would be like, this is just an excellent movie. So the #1 movie of the year, in my opinion, Shipman at the movies, is A Star is Born. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time at the movie.